What's up, everybody? Jake Peters here from PS This Is Awesome, a PlayStation podcast. I'm here with my co-host and what do you want to say? He's a journeyman now in his field. He's running all over the place. Mr. Fred Oakman reporting live on location in some hotel room in some place in Pennsylvania. This is episode 422 of the podcast. We've been doing it for, I don't fucking know, since 2013. So how many years is that? 13 years, I guess. Oh, well, probably right around 13 years because we recorded.
Yeah.
We started right around spring of 2013. So pretty crazy. We have a Patreon. PS This Is, or I fuck this up every time. Patreon.com/PS This Is Awesome. We have the one and only $1 club. That's the only tier we have. It's $1 a month. Gets you a free die-cut vinyl sticker. And you can get a shout-out on the show, and you can get the episode a couple days early, 1 day early, 2 days early, 3 days early. Depends on when we record it, but we try to be punctual if we can. And it does us some good. You could talk to us on there. You could talk to us on YouTube. You could talk to us on, I don't know, can we do reviews on like other services like iTunes and stuff, or is it just okay? I'm not sure.
I never check them, but we don't get notifications. If people are rating us and like writing us on those platforms, we'll never know unless we actively go look at them all.
That's fair. We usually if we get comments, it's usually on YouTube or Patreon, sometimes via email, which is really strange, but that's cool. So I guess with that out of the way, Fred, how are you doing? Because I know you're on location for work. For the audio listeners, if you're listening to the podcast, if you're wondering why Fred's audio is goofy, he is remoting in via his cell phone, but he is doing a video call, and the video actually looks pretty good, Fred, all things considered. It's just good. The audio is obviously it's fucking speakerphone. You can only do so much with it, right? So, but that said, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm in the home of the Little League World Series.
Is it there every year, or is it just this year?
Every year. It's always here.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I've never been to Williamsport. That's where I'm at right now. By the time you get this, I will no longer be in Williamsport, so don't try to find me. But dude, this is a nice little area. Like when you go on a work trip, like I don't have to take many with my job, but like you go on a work trip and you get like this hotel or whatever. Like luckily for me, my job pays for it. But like where you're staying and where you need to go in the morning for your training or your job site is usually never close.
Yeah.
It's literally a 2-minute walk from my hotel room, and it's awesome. Like
What's crazy is that Williamsport is not. It's not a big town. It's like in a fucking valley in like the middle of fucking Pennsylvania. I'm not saying it's not tiny. It's not like there's 500 people living there, but it's not like a city.
Half the size of Erie.
Yeah, it's not like Pittsburgh or something though. And
it's weird. It's like bigger than any town I've ever lived in or spent any amount of time in, but it still feels like rural Pennsylvania, but it has big buildings and parking garages and stuff. And like it's really strange.
But when you leave the city limits, you're literally in the middle of fucking nowhere. Like it's
farmland everywhere.
Yeah, you're like in the Allegheny Forest and shit. Like it's crazy. So it's weird that they have like the Little League World Series there. It's funny. I thought when you brought that up because I knew Williamsport, but I was blanking on what it was. And when you told me you were going there, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool because my cousin and I were talking about taking a trip on our dual sport motorcycles. We were talking about going out there, like towards Williamsport, because there's a lot of like the Appalachian kind of area there. There's a lot of dirt roads and forests and camping and all kinds of fun shit. So, so it's cool that you're able to do this because this is a thing that I don't travel a ton for work either, more than you do, but I maybe travel maybe like if it's a big year, I might travel half a dozen times in a year.
Yeah.
And that's a big year. Rarely it's that much. And one of my favorite things to do is, especially if I'm traveling by myself, I like to get a hotel, I get my hotel room settled or whatever. And so just a quick sidebar, one of my favorite thing to do if I'm renting a hotel room, or if I have a hotel room, especially if I'm not paying for it, is the first thing I do is I go in there, I wipe everything down because I'm a fucking freak about it. But after that, I turn on all of the fucking lights, I turn on the TV, and I blast the air conditioner, and I leave it that way the entire time I'm staying there. Because I'm like, I don't have to pay for electricity, I don't have to pay for any of this stuff. It's like, I'm sleeping in like a fucking sweatshirt because it's 50 degrees in my room. I'm obviously being facetious, I'm not that crazy about it. But similar into what you're kind of getting into, one of my favorite things to do is I just look around close to my hotel or within like really short driving distance or walking distance of cool things to do. Not like necessarily like I'm gonna go to a fucking hedge maze or something like that, but maybe like, what are some cool local restaurants that I could go eat dinner at, or what's like a, you know, like if there's a concert in the area that I can go to if I've got a night off or something like that, or maybe I might just literally go out and just walk around the town. So it sounds like you're kind of catching that vibe a little bit with this trip.
Yeah, well, there's not. Well, the problem is there's not a lot to do in a hotel room when you're traveling by yourself, and like you're not like, you're not. Sorry, I'm declining this. I'm getting a call. I don't know what that is, but you're you're like not meeting work friends at the location, and you're just like a lone wolf. You know what I mean? I'm just here, like I'm taking some mandatory trainings here, is what I'm doing through work, and to be quite honest, they have nothing to do with what I do. They're completely different. Like I'll give you a brief synopsis. Like everybody's heard of FEMA, FEMA. I have to do something similar training wise with PEMA, which is the Pennsylvania version of FEMA, which is way better managed. But it's I'm forced to do it through my employment, and I'm happy to do it. I'll probably never use it, but it's interesting and it's kind of fun. It's funny because I went to the training and it was just full of these like these brutes, like these dudes that were like ex-Marines and shit, and like they're like all tatted up and tough looking, and I'm just like, dude, I don't fit in. And I got my khakis and my polo shirt on, and I'm just sitting there with like a laptop like a nerd, and I'm just like, dude, I don't know what I'm doing. I have to be guys. I'm sorry. Yeah, but it's kind of an interesting thing I'm doing, but it's you know, one of the cool perks of the job is you get to travel sometimes, stuff gets paid for you. Cool thing about this place that I'm at, there's two things I'll touch on. One is game related, one is not. One is most of the intercontinental breakfasts at hotels suck. I don't really like them, but it's on the house. So I went down this morning and they had tomato, spinach, and something quiche, which is
sounds good.
Hilarious. Yeah. And it was like, it wasn't like they made them there. They were like in these packages. They're completely sealed. So they were like grab and go, and it's just on the house. And it's just like, take as many as you want. And then it was just, they had like, I love a good cinnamon raisin bagel, you know, Philadelphia cream cheese. Like, it was like everything. It was a great. Then they had the waffle shit there. Pure maple syrup. Couldn't believe it. I might do those tomorrow morning. But like, so yeah, it's a nice place. But the other thing is I never know the internet situation, right? So I brought my portal, and you just never know what it's going to be like, especially when it's on the company dime. Like some places charge for like super high speed internet, you know, they're tacking on your bill at the end of the stay. But a lot of those internet situations, you'll sign into the internet, or you'll find a network, you'll be asked to join it, and then it gives you that splash screen.
Yeah.
And the splash screen, you got to verify that you are who you are, you know, essentially to get access. So the portal doesn't have a web browser. it won't connect to the internet here. So I'm like, I can't fucking play Yakuza now. I'm so pissed off. And then I was like, you know what I can do? I can use my phone, sign into the internet on my phone, use my phone as a hotspot, connect the portal to my phone, and it's working fine.
Yeah.
So I found a loophole, and then I got real nervous. I'm like, is this free? It's like when I added the phone to the internet, it said, we've added your device to your plan.
Yeah.
So I went downstairs and I talked to the guy, and I was like, yo, if I'm just using what it is, it's your room number and your last name.
Mm-hmm.
I said, if I'm just doing that, there's no charges. And he goes, no. I said, so I'm good. He goes, you're good. And with the portal, it doesn't have to be super high speed with a turn-based game. So my plan is working out. So I am able to do it. But there's an extra step, and it's just going to suck my battery dry on my phone. So
just keep her plugged in. Yeah, I had that problem a lot when I was taking my Xbox. When I was using Game Pass, I would take it to hotels because it was tiny. I could like fit it in a backpack. And but with Game Pass, you have to have an internet connection to launch a game. And I could never make the Xbox connect to the hotel. So what I would did is I would just fucking connect to my phone, a mobile hotspot, and then just start the game, and then I could turn my phone off. It didn't fucking matter after that. And I've been there, man. And now that
the portal through a hotspot surprisingly works pretty well.
I'm surprised that you're not like going 5 frames a second on that bad boy.
No, it's really pretty good. It's only stuttered like a handful of times. Like what my true concern is, I'm going to lose the connection, and then I'm not going to be able to reconnect, and then my PlayStation is just going to be on. I won't be able to turn it off because I'll be in Williamsport.
You don't have power save mode?
I think it might be. Yeah, it might be.
Or it just like turns off or whatever at some point? Or goes to rest mode?
Yeah, so to do a remote connect to a PlayStation, the PlayStation 5 has to be in rest mode. Mm-hmm. So if there were a power outage back home, I wouldn't be able to connect to it, the portal. Yeah. You know what I mean? So like you're running all kinds, there's some mitigating factors of your accessibility to your PlayStation when you're on the road like this. One of the hurdles being, like you said, the internet connection, but another being, well, if your PlayStation for whatever reason gets powered down due to a power outage, it's not going to know to turn itself back on and go into rest mode. So you're not going to go to remotely. So you might need to have somebody with a key back home to go power on your PlayStation if you're that desperate to play.
Yeah, I recently, last couple times I've traveled, I've taken my Steam Deck with me, and it works a little, or my Vita, and it works a little better because it's got native game support, so I don't have to worry about the Wi-Fi thing. But the other thing, and if you ever travel with a console, the one thing that I have noticed is that a lot of hotel TVs do not have game mode turned on, and there's no way to turn it on, so the input lag on a fucking TV in a hotel is terrible.
You better just really bring bad. Your own TV.
What's that?
Just bring your own TV. Yeah. Or, what you could do is use a VR headset at this point.
You probably almost could, right? But
use the VR2 with the PS5 and just play that way.
Dude, I've done some weird shit to try and get a console connected to a TV at hotel rooms before. But now that I have my Steam Deck, I'm just like, fuck it. Or like on my work computer, because my work computer's not locked down. I can do whatever the hell I want on it. And I just install Steam on it, and I'll play like Doom or something like that on my work computer or something like that if I'm bored. Or like some other game that I'm interested in from the PC side. But well, that's cool. So it sounds like, how long are you there for? Another day or two, or?
I stay tonight, and then I stay tomorrow night, and then I head back on Wednesday. We're recording this on Monday, so I'm driving back home Wednesday after class. But I am going to go check out this place called the Bullfrog, and it's crazy to have a hotel so close to stuff.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's intentional or not where they set me up at, but I mean, like this bar is literally 0.3 miles. I looked at the menu. There's all this vegetarian shit. There's a dude playing acoustic there tonight who. I went to like the about information. It's Brett Alexander. I don't know anything about him, but one T in Brett. But it said that he's been doing it for 30 plus years and is like the dude of Pennsylvania. That's he plays over 200 shows a year.
Wow.
And I'm like, I don't know who this guy is. I'm gonna go check him out. I heard some of his stuff on Spotify or whatever. It sounded all right. Like it wasn't 100% up a wheelhouse, but if the dude has experience and he's a connect out here, maybe I'll say hi or something.
Yeah, that's cool. It is awesome having a hotel room where you can just kind of walk places. Like the place that I stay a lot when I go visit this company out in Chicago, I always stay at this one hotel, and literally across the street from the hotel is a brewery that has really good food, and then literally a block away from that is a Buffalo Wild Wings if I wanted to go like get something a little bit more casual. But probably the two coolest experiences I ever had doing something like that was one whenever I would go to Huntington, West Virginia to visit a customer down there. And it's a college town. So basically once you get downtown, there's like all of these bars and like ice cream shops and all this other shit that you can do. And like every night I would try to go to like just a different restaurant I've never been to before.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I can't remember what they had this place. I can't remember what it was, but it's specialized in, I know this isn't your forte, but it's specialized in like German food, specifically like bratwursts and fucking kibasi and like that kind of stuff. And they had like just this huge wall. There's just all these taps of like German beers and other nationalities and stuff like that. But it was very like Belgian, German kind of inspired. It was really cool kind of place to go. But my favorite trip was one time I went to Chicago, but I was downtown. I stayed in a hotel in the middle of downtown Chicago for a conference. And dude, you literally like walk out and the world is your fucking oyster on foot. Like I went to like Gordon Ramsay's restaurant, whatever the hell it's called, Hell's Kitchen or whatever. And then I went to like this other place that was like some kind of a brewery type thing. I went to a fucking piano bar, which was really cool. Like after I went to dinner, you like walk down into this basement and then there's just a piano there and someone just like, people are just shouting out songs and they would start playing them. And it was really cool. And then the other cool thing about it is like Chicago has all those like e-bikes and scooters you can rent that are just all over the city. And so every night I would just put in my headphones. I would get on an e-bike and just start riding it around the city. And they have a walking trail that goes like the whole length of Chicago along the lake shore. And there's all those beaches and Burnham Harbor and all this stuff. And I would literally just go over there just with my headphones on, probably because I'm in Chicago listening to like Alkaline Trio or some shit. Yeah. Just fucking riding this. And they don't want you riding like the little scooters, because apparently you're not allowed to ride scooters on the sidewalk. You have to ride them on the street. But they let you ride the bikes on the walking paths. And dude, I'm not kidding you. These fucking e-bikes go like 40 miles an hour. And it's just like, what are we doing with these rules here? But anyway, it was so
that's cool.
I mean, that's a long-winded way of saying that like work trips often for me, and I don't know if it's like this for you or not, but often for me, work trips are very long hours. I don't have a lot of time to really do anything. And the one thing that I always make sure I do for myself to kind of wind down is just find a cool place to eat in the evening, or maybe a bar to go to and have a drink and listen to some music or something like that. And so I'm glad that you have the time to be able to just kind of get out, especially a day like today that's pretty nice out and not I think it's like maybe I think it's supposed to maybe rain the next couple of days, so I don't know if it'll be. I mean, you're obviously a little bit farther east, but the weather should be relatively similar. But anyway, that's cool. So, Sarah, we were at the Pittsburgh Marathon this weekend.
Oh, I knew that happened. Yeah.
Yeah. So So last weekend was the NFL draft, and there was like a shitload of people there, like a couple 100,000 people in Pittsburgh. This past weekend was the Pittsburgh Marathon, which I did. So Sarah was she and some of her coworkers made a team that did a relay. So they had to complete the whole marathon, but there was 5 of them, and they did relay exchanges. So
that's cool.
The longest run was like 6.5 miles, and the shortest one was just under 4 miles, right? And so they would take turns or whatever. And So she signed up to do this, and I like wasn't even really thinking about it all that much in terms of, you know, going there and everything. It was just like, oh, it's just an event, you know, we'll just go down there the day of and she'll compete. We might have to get down there early, but whatever. And then like a few weeks ago, I start looking into the Pittsburgh Marathon, and apparently it's fucking huge. And I had no idea. Like, I was just like, oh, it's just, yeah, we'll just go to Pittsburgh and go to this fucking thing. And didn't like get a hotel down there, didn't do anything. And the race starts at 7 o'clock in the morning. And so I'm like looking, and it's like they were expecting, going into the weekend, they were expecting 50,000 people just running. So this doesn't include all the spectators and shit, which I think they said after all the spectators and stuff are added in, the influx of people is like 300,000 people. And so I'm like starting to panic or whatever. And thankfully my parents got home from Florida on Saturday, so they were able to watch my dog. So we scooted down there Saturday night, got down there. We stayed at a hotel in Wexford. We couldn't stay downtown because the hotels downtown were like $1,000 a night. It was fucking insane. Yeah. And so we got down there at like 8 o'clock, got into our hotel room. I'm like, all right, well, let's just chill. But we had to get Sarah's bib because you have to get it the night before. And her coworker picked it up for her. And I was like, all right, that's great. We'll just go meet her. She did the work of going downtown. We'll meet her. We'll get it. We'll come back to the room, whatever. Here we find out, we get a hold of this. We get a hold of Sarah's coworker, and where she is staying is literally on the other side of the city. And so we had to drive like 35 minutes to get to this place, pick up all the stuff. And then we got back. And then we hadn't eaten dinner yet, so we had to eat dinner. And then we get to the hotel room because I was all thinking we'll get down there at like 8, we'll get our shit, we'll get to bed early, we'll get up because they're recommending that you get there at like 5:30. And so I'm like, we'll get to bed early, we'll get up, you know, we'll leave at like 4:30, 5 o'clock. We'll get down there, get a good parking spot, whatever. So because of all this stuff, we didn't end up going to bed until like, I don't know, 10:30, maybe pushing 11 o'clock. And I slept like dog shit. And I don't think she slept much better. And so, you know, you get up like 4 hours of sleep. You get up.
You gotta run.
We drove to Pittsburgh, got in the parking garage, and then I didn't even compete. I didn't even run. And I walked. I was looking at my watch. I walked 10 miles while I was there. Yeah. And I didn't even compete. I literally just went to the starting line. We were walking around, kind of checking things out. I walked a few different places on the course so I could try to catch her as she was running by. And then after the race was over...
Did you catch her at all? Did you see her?
I saw her at the very last leg. Whenever the race started... Dude, there were so many fucking people. It was unbelievable. Like, just a sea of people just running towards you, and it just is going by for like 30 minutes. People just run, and I'm like, I'm not gonna recognize her in this like crowd of people. So I missed her there. Yeah. I looked for her, but I missed her, and then I like rushed up to this other area that she was gonna get to after a loop, and then they have an app where you can follow the transponder in the relay wand, so you can follow where the person is on the course. And I was like, oh, she's coming, and then literally looked at the map again, and she was past me, and I'm like, fuck. So like so I start running like along the river to like get back across the river back to where she's gonna finish, because there's no way I could find her anywhere else. So I got over to like maybe less than a quarter of a mile before the finish, and I was able to see her go by. So I kind of followed her for the last bit of the marathon, but she did really good. She did a really good time, and all the ladies did a really good job. And then afterwards we kind of went, they had this like Point State Park down there downtown. So that whole thing was, they didn't have the festivities. You could go into Point, like the actual point where the fountain is, you could go in there, but there's that area just inside of the bridge before all the buildings start that's like a subsection of Point State Park, and that whole lawn was full of like, you know, they had like a beer garden and all this like carnival food and like a bunch of vendor tents and all this stuff. And it was just, when we first got there, because it was still she was first, so she was done by like 20 after 8 in the morning. So
wow.
We basically just kind of walked around after that, and then we met up with the her coworker that finished second, and then we kind of walked around a bit, and we waited for all the ladies to be done so that they could take a picture together and all of this stuff, and we ended up being down there until I think, dude, I swear to God, it felt like I had been there for 15 hours. And we left at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It wasn't that we were there that long, and it's not like I was happy to be there. It was just all this walking, and we were there so early. I mean, it was dark when we got there. I took some cool pictures because we walked along the river by PNC Park, and they got some cool pictures of like the bridge lights in the city and stuff. But yeah, it was awesome. The fucking bathroom situation was an absolute mess. But other than that, it was a pretty cool time. And then as far as like that, but that's basically it. I haven't been doing anything else. I've been learning some songs. I got you probably can't see this. I got my notepad here. It's got tons of notes on it for
Love it.
all the fucking songs that I'm learning for my my punk rock debut.
It's gonna be fun, man.
Yeah. So we didn't. I didn't talk about this last week, but Fred asked if I could sub for Paul to play bass for One If by Land show. So I'm gonna do that. I'm excited about it. Been practicing some shit, so that should be fun.
Yeah, it'll be a good time. I'm real excited that you want to play that Airtight song.
Yeah,
we haven't played that in ages.
Yeah, I know. I was listening to it and I was like, wait. I was like, I haven't heard this song in a long time. And I remember when you guys recorded it, we all like piled into that room at Troy's house, and we were like hooting and hollering and like opening beers and all this shit.
Creating a party atmosphere.
Yeah, to like do the recording. And I was like, oh, we got to play that song. Because it's like, what, a 2-minute long song without all the extra shit. So like, fuck it, let's play it. But anyway, yeah, that should be a fun. And that Hills and Hollers thing, we did that last year. It was pretty fun.
The Flood did it, yeah.
So I think it'll be a good time. But anyway, that's enough of our nonsense. Let's talk a little bit about video games. Fred, you already mentioned that you were playing a little bit of Yakuza, and I know that you had talked some about the connection stuff with the Portal, but that aside, are you still enjoying the game?
Yeah, I am. It's man, it gets really long sometimes though. Like right now I'm in a dungeon, quote unquote dungeon, and I'm trying to find the exit, and it's starting to remind me of what little I played of Persona 4. The dungeon there.
Those dungeons were just like endless, and they were all like the same hallways. Yeah,
that's what this kind of feels like right now, and I'm just trying to get out of this very obtuse basement is in the storyline. Like, is that me and my group have been captured, and we're trying to escape, and I'm running into the same enemy types over and over, and fighting and over, and then finding stairs, and then I'm still not at the exit, and I'm doing the whole thing again. I'm finding things, and I'm like doing it again. I find the stairs, I could do it again, and it's just like I did it. I've probably been doing that for the last hour and a half, just trying to get out of this basement, and it's starting to wear on me. As short of that, I really still enjoy it. I find the humor good, the gameplay's fun, it's great for the Portal, and I've been seeing a lot of people posting Portals on Facebook Marketplace for like $100. $150, which is interesting because Sony just jacked the price up on them. So if it is something you're interested in, check the marketplace. You might be able to find a good deal there. And the PlayStation Backbone, people are selling those for like $45 now. It's a little different. I mean, it uses your phone,
right.
But you could still use Remote Play on your phone. It's a smaller screen probably than the Portal. But anyways, just that's a sidebar. Yeah, I am enjoying Yakuza. I can't wait for Directive 8020. That's right next week, I think. So
that'd probably be another good Portal game because there's not like action going on. It's just like a kind of like a narrative experience, right? Or at least we assume.
We don't know yet for sure, but I'm presuming as much. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, I'm glad you're liking it because it's definitely a game that I would at some point like to play, but it just so many things. It just scares me off because of how deep it is, and I don't want to say I'm hit or miss with like those types of games, but they just intimidate me from starting. And so sometimes I don't want to start them because I'm afraid that it's going to take too long, or I'm going to have to learn so much or whatever. And but from what I understand, it seems like the story is kind of pretty cool in it. So
it is cool.
So that kind of might propel me to play it. Well,
the humor helps too.
It's got that Ichiban character or whatever the hell his name is. He's kind of goofball.
Ichiban Kasaga, he's so good. Well, it's funny because when you start, you get out of prison or whatever, and you get a haircut, and it's like just this terrible perm or haircut, whatever. But like he's had this haircut the whole game so far. He's never changed it. And it's just people make comments about the guy with the weird hair and stuff, and it's a joke that just runs through. It's good.
That's funny. Well, I am playing still Hades 2. I have no idea even remotely how to tell how far I am into this game. But I've been actually enjoying it quite a bit more. I ranted last week for a bit about it's like the never ending thing about me fucking ranting about roguelike games, but I am really enjoying it, and it's kind of like, I don't want to say, it's weird because I'll play a run and I'll die and I'll be like, okay, and I'll play another run and then I'll die, and then I might play a third run, and then if I die, I'm just like, I'm fucking out. Like I just got done playing the same shit for fucking 2 hours over and over again, even though it was only like maybe 2 or 3 runs. And it is cool like that they have all the conversation stuff, but I'm not gonna lie, like a lot of so have you played either of the Hades games? Like even a little bit?
No, I have the first one. I bought it at Walmart for the PS5 on clearance for $5. So I have the PS5 disc of Hades sealed.
Yeah.
And I haven't done anything with it yet.
So you get these things called boons, right? Where you'll walk through an area and then you'll clear it out, and then this boon will show up, and it'll be like one of the Greek gods. Like for example, you pick up Artemis, and or not Art. I guess we could, let's just say, what's like a better one? Let's just say Zeus, right? You get Zeus.
Right?
Yeah, and he pops up, and he's like, he'll say he'll have some dialogue about like his relationship with the main character Malinois or her family, and then it'll just be like a one kind of message box kind of blurb, and then it'll pop up with like 3 different options of abilities that he will grant you just for that run. And it might be something like, oh, your attacks now do lightning damage, or it might be something like, oh, when an enemy hits you, like a bolt of lightning jumps out and damages them, or something like that. And it's only good for that one run. It's a very trite sort of roguelike thing. Right. But the thing about it is that every time you pick up one of these, it's like a new bit of dialogue that kind of relates that particular god to the main character and fills in some of the backstory about her family and all this shit. And because the main crux of it is the main character is a lost daughter of Hades, and Hades and his wife Persephone have been captured by Kronos, the god of time, and Malinois is now grown up as an adult and with like the witch Hecate, and now she's trying to basically get back to the underworld to free her father from this Kronos guy. Whatever. That's the main story. So the whole time you're like playing, you pick up these boons, and there's this like blurb that gives you some backstory about sort of the world before the game started, or just that character's relationship with the main character, or that character's relationship with Hades, or this fucking Kronos douchebag or whatever. And at the beginning it was really novel and cool, and like it was cool that like no matter, like I'm fucking my 13th playthrough of this game, and I'm still getting unique dialogue from all of these gods that I'm coming up to, even if I've gotten that same god 10 times, right? And it's not like a conversation. It's like I said, they just say a thing that's like some backstory, and then it gives you your boon. But I'm getting to the point now where it's like happened so many times that like I'm caring less and less about the things that they are saying. And it's unfortunate because that is sort of like that and some of the other little odd quirks about the game is like one of the only things that differentiates it from other roguelike games in terms of like how the story continues on even after you die. Whereas like in other roguelike, it's just like, oh, you're just repeating the same time loop, kind of like Returnal or something. So, but I'm still really enjoying it. I'm still unlocking stuff. There's a lot of like permanent upgrades and stuff. So even if you're bad at it, you can just kind of beat your head against the wall until you get enough resources to like kind of OP yourself a little bit. You can unlock like extra lives and shit, so you can die more than once and things like that. So I'm kind of like learning how to build out a little bit while you're going. But one of my big problems is that like if I figure out a build that I kind of like, I can't use it because every loop, the boons that you get, it's all randomly generated. So if I get a weapon that like uses a lot of magic, but then I find these boons that are like, oh, if you use magic, you get this perk. And then I find this other boon that's like, oh, it automatically replenishes magic. And you can like stack all this stuff together to have this really powerful build. And then the next time you play through, it's like, oh, well, I have to think on my feet and try to make a whole new idea because those things that I built up before are not guaranteed to me. It's all random.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just don't get it's like Returnal was the same way. Sometimes you just don't roll the dice right. You don't get the gun you want. You don't get the fucking accessory you need. And you just write the run off and you start over. And I think that's something that kind of bothers me about it. But it's very minimal. I still really like it. I still love the aesthetic of the game. I still love the voice acting and the story. It seems really cool. And I love the atmosphere and everything. And even like the gameplay is really good. So, yeah, so I haven't bought Saros yet. Or I was curious about Mouse PI and I was curious about Pragmata as well. And I haven't played any of those. I have to imagine I'll get to Saros eventually, but because I rolled off of Hades 1, even though people loved that game so much, since this game has kind of grabbed me, I just sort of want to stick with it for now and see if I can get pushed through to the end of it and say that I've experienced the game rather than just kind of quitting early just because I'm getting frustrated with it and then wishing I had beaten it later. So anyway, that's where I'm at with that, but that's all I'm playing. I don't got anything else to say. We can jump into the news. And then we don't have a lot. There's not a lot of news this week. We'll kind of rip through that, and then we'll get out of here so you can go watch your country guy. A
real quick comment. I did listen to the episode last week. Good job. And you did say that you wish that I was on it for the discussion about the new Alien Isolation trailer.
Oh, yeah. What do you have to say about that?
I didn't see the trailer, but I did beat Alien Isolation. And I do think that whatever they're cooking up is going to be great because that game was fantastic. And I'll also note that there was an Alien game that came out on VR for VR2 that people really liked. I don't think it was Alien Isolation. It was some sort of alien game. I remember
it wasn't Rogue Incursion, right? That was the
yeah, maybe it was.
Or was that was Rogue Incursion the tactical one? What was the tactical one you played?
I don't know, but I died at the last mission. I never played it.
That was the one that like punished you royally bad at the end.
The time ran out. The timer ticked out. I went through the whole game, dropped like 35, 40 hours in this game, I think, and then what was that one called?
It is Rogue Incursion is the VR game.
Okay. What was the one that I played? Aliens.
Dark Descent.
Jeez, that game was awesome, but man,
it sucks when you have such a positive experience with the game and they just fucking fumble so hard at the end. I had the same.
Well, I mean, if I would have met the timeline, If they would have even said this is an in-game timer that you can't stop, and once it's over, the game's over.
Yeah.
I would have played it much differently. I didn't understand.
I had the same problem with the first XCOM game. I got to the very end where you have to like assault that base, and I didn't have enough shit, and there was nothing else for me to do to like upgrade my base and improve my characters.
That was it.
It's over. I'm done with it. Unless I literally get just incredibly lucky during the combat of the final mission.
Which you can't like save spam it.
Yeah, which it's just unfortunate that those things can happen because you basically just flushed 30 hours down the toilet, which is unfortunate. But anyway, I'm glad that I was happy for you when I saw that because I know that you said that you really liked Alien Isolation. And
Isolation was great.
And the only thing that kept me away from it was just because of how long it was. And it's not that it's that long of a game. It's just that I think it was like, they said it was like 25 or 30 hours, which is a really long time for that type of game. For me,
it's like playing Outlast for 30 hours.
Yeah, I know, right? It's just like my nerves are fucking shot by the end of that game. But anyway, so glad to hear that. Good pickup. I'm glad you listened to the show because the ones that I do by myself are probably a little bit difficult for people to listen to because there's not a lot of back and forth, me just talking to myself about stuff. But
you do a good job.
All right. Yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear that. All right, so let's jump into the news. Like I said, there's just a few points here. It's a pretty light week. There's nothing really to talk about. Just a few kind of blurbs, and then we'll get on the way out of our way. This will be a little bit of a shorter episode, but no problemo. The first news point, and this is really, really kind of interesting. I'm excited for this game. The Blood of Dawnwalker has a release date.
Oh yeah,
it is coming out. It's coming out September 3rd of this year. They did this big gameplay story kind of deep dive sort of thing. I think it was like a 20 or so minute kind of video. And I didn't watch the whole thing, but I did watch some of it. And it seems like, dude, when I'm watching it, I'm just like, oh yeah, it seems like the Witcher devs worked on this. And
even the main character has the hair.
Yeah, and it's very interesting. And so do I think, like, I don't think that graphically it looks as impressive as The Witcher, but that could just be what I saw, and I wasn't really looking that into it. But I will say, it looks great. It looks great, and I'm excited that it's coming this time. It looks like they're getting it out early to try to get it out before November when the big game comes out, Grand Theft Auto 6, assuming it launches this year. And I did see that there is an in-game timer in this game, though, Fred. Did you know this?
Yeah, which is scary because it's such a long game.
So you have quote unquote 30 days to save your family, I think is the gist of it, right? But I believe it works kind of like Persona, where it's not that the game literally is constantly a running clock. It's like, oh, you're playing and time is not really advancing, but doing certain actions advances time a little bit. So, like, if you unlock a particular skill or you do a particular mission, it might have an identifier on it that says, doing this advances the clock 2 hours or something like that. And so it's kind of like Persona 2, where it's like you have a calendar and you can only do so many things per day. And it's possible that you can kind of run out of time, but really it's just about managing the things that picking the right things for what you want to do. It's not like if you're just standing there scratching your ass that the clock is running. So I don't think it's going to be as restrictive as people might worry about, but I don't know. I'm excited about it. Especially like you have to manage the whole vampire aspect of it, where you have to like feed your thirst and like drink blood and all this shit. It seems pretty cool. So I take it you're probably pretty excited for it.
Yeah, I think it's cool. Coming off of Yakuza, whatever. I just don't know if I'm going to be in on this. Like might wait for a sale. I don't like the game timer, even as you described it.
Yeah.
It just, I think I've got some real PTSD from college of like meeting exam deadlines, and like my job is very deadline oriented. It's like I don't want a deadline in my game.
Right.
Like I don't want that. I just don't want it. It's all of a sudden turns into a work to me. You know, but we'll see. We'll see what the reviews say.
Yeah, I get that. I totally get that. So, news point number 2 here. In a recent interview with Comic Book, which I think is like a website, maybe, Naoki Hamaguchi, who is the director of the one of the directors of the Final Fantasy VII Remake project, revealed that the last installment of Final Fantasy VII Remake is being prepared for reveal. So we don't really know anything about it yet. We just know that it's happening. He also mentioned that he has beaten the game over 40 times already during its development. Remake and Rebirth are currently being ported to Xbox and Nintendo hardware, so it's assumed that the third game will not be a console exclusives like the first two. And there are rumors that maybe this game might be revealed at Summer Games Fest, because I think Rebirth was announced at Summer Games Fest. But this is exciting because I loved the first game, and I loved Intergrade, and I loved the second game. The second game I thought was a bit much. They could have dialed it back a little bit. That game did not didn't need to be 90 hours long. You never played Rebirth. Well, you played the first one, right?
I beat the first one. I liked it.
Did you play Retro or Intergrade? The Yuffie DLC?
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, so at some point, I mean, if you're interested, at some point you should play Rebirth, because it is a very good game. It's just, in my opinion, it's just too long. So they could have probably cut 30 hours out of that game. I'm not lying.
We should do a thing where once a year we pick a game the other person has to play. And then they got to do it by the end of the year.
That's actually not a bad idea. There should be. I agree. I'll agree to this, but I feel like there should be there should be a certain level of veto power if it's like you pick something fucking just out of pocket. You know what I mean? It can't be like a gag. It's got to be something that you actually want the other person to play, so you can have a conversation with them about it. Sure. Yeah. So like, you know, I'm not going to ask Fred to play the newest MotoGP game, because that just doesn't make any sense. I mean, I know for a fact, even though you liked Gran Turismo in VR, I can tell you for a fact you would not like that game. So, but yeah, that's actually not a bad idea. Kind of push you outside of your wheelhouse. Maybe not even necessarily outside of your wheelhouse, but force you to play something maybe that you just put on the back burner because you didn't necessarily want to get to, and that the other person has played, because then it can kind of force some additional conversation between the two of us. So yeah, I do like that. I do like that idea. And so we could definitely do that. And maybe, like I said, part of that could just be like, maybe have it be like a couple of games or something. In case it's like, here, I want, you know what? No, fuck it. It should be any game. It should be any game. And I don't necessarily know that you have to, you necessarily have to beat it, especially if I'm like, Fred, you got to play Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. It's an 80-hour game or something like that. Yeah. So all I expect is give it a good whack.
If I told you Darkest Dungeon 2 and you can't report back till you beat it, that you'd be among like 10% of people in the world.
I'd be like, well, we're never talking about this game then. So
yeah, right.
So like, just give it a good the old college try. And
I still can't believe I beat Darkest Dungeon 2. That's unbelievable. I fucking do.
It sounds, I mean, that game looked really hard, and I didn't even play it.
I couldn't beat the first one, but I beat the second one. And I don't know how. Still to this day, I don't know how I did it. I was like obsessed with that game.
That's
sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. I was just thinking about.
No, you're good. That's I mean, that's a pretty impressive kind of feat.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a platinum or anything, but
no, but some games are just fucking hard. I mean, I was really stoked when I beat
Returnal.
Returnal, yeah. Because that game's hard as shit.
Yeah, did you beat Resogun?
Yeah, dude, I fucking dominated Resogun. I got to platinum in that game. I'm sure we probably talked about it at the show at one point in time, but when that game came out, I think after the first month or something like that, on one of the difficulties, it might have been like easy or medium, I was ranked like 19th in the world for top score for Resogun. And then they did this update that just wiped all the leaderboards, so like my score got completely removed.
Yeah.
But I just was like, I was so locked into that fucking game. I have no idea why, because I'm not really that into arcade games usually. But I like Housemarque stuff. It's all very good.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Dude, that's like when I was like number one of Gorgar, the pinball table.
Yeah.
Whatever for in the world. I was number one for like a week or something on the standings. It was hilarious.
Yeah, it's awesome. And I remember like looking at my score and then looking at the top score, and I was like, the top score has to be a cheater. There's no fucking, because it was like, I'm just making up numbers here, but it would be like the score, like the rank number 2 would be like 20 million points, and then rank number 1 would be like 400 million points. And it's like, guys, come on. There's no fucking way that this guy,
500 billion.
Yeah, this guy scored like quite literally 50 times more points than the second place guy. It's impossible. Unless it was like a bot or some shit like that. Like I don't. So anyway, that was a quite the diversion. But anywho, moving on.
Yeah.
In a recent dev diary, Remedy art director Elmeri Raitanen is Remedy a Finnish studio? Let's find that out. What country is Remedy Entertainment from? Yes. You know how I know? Because the person's last name is Raitanen, and literally 3/4 of their last names end in en.
I thought you were going to say is Raitanen. Like 3/4 of the population has the last name. Like we have Smith here. It's Raitanen.
No, just like it was really, and I never thought about this, but it was very apparent to me watching the Olympics in hockey. The Finnish hockey team, like every fucking player on the team, their last name ended in en. It was very, very, very interesting. But
weird.
I wonder why. It must be just something about their language. But anyway. Elmeri Raitanen made comments about how the team did not reference any other AAA games when working on Control Resonance aesthetic. He says that he is worried that since nobody is taking risks in AAA gaming anymore, that games will achieve a, quote, aesthetic singularity, and he is trying to avoid that. So basically what he's saying is that eventually we'll get to a point where every single AAA game looks identical, and he's trying to avoid that. And you could tell, like, if you look at the art in Remedy's games, like all their character models and the aesthetic is all fucking wild. It's all out of pocket shit that looks just fucking cool.
Like Control, Alan Wake stuff. Yeah,
right. All the bad guys look crazy. Like all this cool stuff's happening. And he made these comments, and I wanted to get your point of view on this, just as a creative person yourself. Is that from music specifically, but maybe for other things as well, is that he's saying that they did not look at any other AAA games while working on Control Resonance aesthetic. Now, maybe there is some seasoning lost in translation with this statement.
Yeah.
But to me, it kind of rings like whenever BioWare made Anthem, and the executives told them not to look at any other live service game that's on the market right now. They had to basically do it in a vacuum, and the game ended up being dog shit. Now, this is not gameplay thing. It's an art thing. So I could totally get that you would want to have a unique vision for the art, because that's one of the things that differentiates Remedy from everybody else. But at the same time, it's like, as creative people, like, we're all inspired by something. Right?
Yeah.
No artist is coming up with something that's wholly unique in that that vision was not informed or grown based on the things that they've looked at or liked in the past. You think about musicians, right? I mean, literally everybody is gonna reference somebody that they love or listen to or that influences them. So I don't know. It's interesting. So I guess my question is a two-parter. One, do you think that this is kind of bullshit because everybody is inspired by something? And two, if it's not, do you think it's a good idea for somebody to completely ignore everything else that's out there in an attempt to make a completely unique vision? Or should they just maybe work on their own thing, but check in on other stuff as like a reference point, or maybe even like a way to kind of get them over certain hurdles or things like that?
I think that what they're trying to say, now I don't know because I don't know anybody in the studio, is that they're making a conscientious effort to be more resilient towards influence from modern day games. Not to say that they're, I guess, stifling their vision in attempt to remain different. Does that make sense? Because I think, like, if I wanted to write a song and it just so happened to sound like modern day music, and that's what I was vibing and that's what I was feeling, there might be a part of me that goes in and does a little bit of editing, you know what I mean, to make it not as obvious. But I'm not going to just scrap the song. I'm going to keep the parts that I thought were good, because to intentionally make yourself uninfluenced by other art is impossible. First of all, it's an impossible task. But I do think it's important to remain aware of what you're doing creatively, and to not chew or bite too much on what has already been done before, to a degree that you don't just put out more mediocrity. And I think that's maybe what they're trying to say, but it's really difficult needle to thread, man. I mean, we've been writing songs and stuff down as a band and stuff. I'll come to you guys with ideas, and hell, a lot of my songs are similar sounding sometimes, you know what I mean? But it's hard to get out of that wheelhouse, or get out of your own wheelhouse, but it's also really difficult to stay in your own lane and still sound different or be different and not just blend in with everything else. I think that should be every artist's aspiration. But you can't be too concerned with just being inspired by stuff, or being influenced by stuff.
We've all done this before. I mean, I know you and I mainly are talking about music, not necessarily visuals or video games or something like that, but like, I know for a fact, and you've probably had a similar experience with your bands, is like, I know, like, if I would, like, I've written something and sent it to like one time I remember specifically, I wrote a song, or just like came up with this thing, and I like recorded some shitty vocals on it, and I like recorded it, and I sent it to our mutual friend Ted, and because him and I used to like send funny shit back and forth all the time, and he was like, "Oh, that sounds exactly like this song," and he would send me like a YouTube video, and it's like some fucking song that like, it sounds exactly like it, and it would be a song that I've heard before and that I know. And so it's like, oh, I must have just literally pulled that out of the archive and just fucking rewrote it.
Yeah, right. You got to be cognizant of not doing that. It's hard to do, though, because your Rolodex just gets bigger and bigger the longer you exist and the longer you love something. You know what I mean? Like, being a musician, it is very hard not to just rip someone off on accident. You're constantly doing an engine check. You know what I mean? You're constantly looking under the hood and being like, okay, is this... I have a lyric in a One Up by Land song. I sent it to a couple Jawbreaker fans because I swore up and down it was maybe a Jawbreaker lyric. And I was like, I wrote different friends of mine who were in bands. I was like, is this a job rate? I can't use, like, it sounds so familiar to me. Um, and everyone came back and said, no, dude, that's not any Jawbreaker song as far as I know. And I would get on like the internet and like Google lyrics to make sure I wasn't taking something from someone else. And like, that's as best as I can do. I forget what the lyric is, and maybe I did steal it. I didn't mean to. What was the line? Kind of like we were, but we didn't, or something. It's, I saw this couple who kissed. They were committed, kind of like how we were, but we didn't, is the line. And I swear that's a song. And after I recorded it and I was listening to our master, I was like, that sounds like something. And I started panicking and writing people. I was like, is this original? Is this a Jawbreaker? Like, I can't think of any other band that would have a lyric like that. So I think I'm in the clear, though. I mean, like, that is the closest to the sun I've ever flown, where I just, in some cases when I'm not sure and I'm like, this is almost so good it can't be mine, I'll just scrap it out of pure, I don't know, just panic. I'll just scrap whatever I wrote and be like, this has to be somebody else's. This is too good. Like, I didn't come up with this. You know what I mean? And I've got another lyric about, in that, it's a Flood song. That new one, Never Close Like This. Something about how the Bills, they don't know that we aren't friends. Something like, I put them in the trash, they show up in my mailbox again, or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, they're just implying that the Bills are still coming. Like, even though you're like, no, fucking stay away. And I was like, that could be a John Prine lyric, something like that. And I looked, and I looked, and I looked, and I couldn't find it any online. I was like, maybe that's mine. Maybe that came from a Prine song. I don't know.
Yeah.
I really don't know at this point. So, to your point, I'm not intentionally doing it. If I've done it, and I'd be wildly embarrassed if I had. And I don't know, I would just make a public statement or something if that were the case. But as a musician who's been writing tons and tons of songs and is probably a game developer who has an image or whatever, I'm sure there are little things that you can't help from getting through your armor. You know, you're trying not to steal stuff, but it is almost impossible at times. Yeah. I think, just because we love what we love, and I don't know.
Yeah, well, it's so I think that this comment is probably relatively toothless comment. I mean, he wants to try to be original is all he's saying. And he's not going to look at other AAA games for reference, but that doesn't mean he's not going to be inspired, because we all are inspired, whether subconsciously
you can't turn off inspiration.
Right.
Yeah.
So, okay. Let's see. If there's anything else here I want to talk about. There's like a couple of just random shit here. We'll just bounce through these real quick. Did you ever play the Outer Worlds or Outer Worlds 2? So apparently they're removing the Outer Worlds. The original version is being removed from PS4 and PS5, and because they made that Spacer's Choice version or whatever, which was supposed to be like a remaster or like a upgraded version or something. And so they're like removing the original version, which I own because I purchased it on PS4, and they're giving all of the people who had the original version, they're just giving them the Spacer's Choice edition for free.
Yeah.
The problem is that the Spacer's Choice edition, when it came out, was absolutely ass. Like, it was all fucked up and people had tons of problems with it. So hopefully they fixed it at this point. Not that I'm like clamoring to go back and replay that game, but I would hope that like the people that are losing out, like I won't be able to, according to them, it seems like I won't be able to download the original version of the game anymore. I'll only be able to download the Spacer's Choice edition, which kind of sucks. And I've never seen that before. Not that it hasn't happened. I'm sure it has, but not with something that I have. So that's a little bit silly. The other thing I wanted to ask you about this, Fred, is that the PSVR 2 update for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 has come out.
Yeah.
And I'm curious how you feel about this and if you have any interest in it, because I know that you were not necessarily a Gran Turismo fan, but you loved GT7 in VR. Same with me. Absolutely fucking loved it. I think it is the best VR game.
One of the best. Yeah, 100%.
And now some reviews have come out. There's not a lot of reviews out there, but some have said that like there's maybe some little issues with it, some dirt on it that make it so that it's not going to be a killer app like GT7 is. But it's the idea of being able to control this plane in first person and everything is there and you can switch all the switches and flip all the knobs and do all this stuff. It's and fly around the world and I believe in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 you can actually land your vehicle anywhere and just get out and walk around, which is really interesting. And the way that game works, if you didn't know, is that it actually, the install size is relatively small. It's like 30 gigs, which sounds like a lot, but it's really not for a modern game. And it actually, in real time, streams in the satellite textures of the Earth and overlays them on the fucking map that you're flying through. So, like, rather than, like, the game, like, as you fly around, it's like loading in textures from your hard drive for like the way that the world looks. It's literally streaming in real-time satellite images. They're not taking the images in real time, but like what the most up-to-date satellite images are, it's streaming them in on the fly through the internet and populating the world so that everything looks as up-to-date and real as possible. And you can like, there was like I saw a video of someone like landed in Giza and walked out, like was walking around the pyramids and shit. And like, don't get me wrong, it's really cool, but it's not like as crazy as you can imagine it could be, but it is still really awesome. And so I'm really interested in this. I don't know that I want to buy Flight Simulator to play it, but if Flight Simulator was ever on a sale, like I got GT7 for like $30 or $40 on sale, and then I was able to have my way with that game. And that game was like notoriously peak VR experience.
Yeah.
If this game comes down to like $20 though, I could see myself picking it up and trying this out because I think it would be pretty cool. I don't know how you feel about it.
Yeah, man, I would love to play it because I would love to fly from like the airport in Meadville to like Pittsburgh or something and land it. Like, it would be just so cool because I don't know if you can actually land in the airports and stuff, every airport in America, or in the world, but I would find a way to do something that in the most wild situation in my life that, you know, should I ever have to fly an airplane from one place to the next and like within my logistical area, it would be cool to have done it virtually before being put in the hot seat in real life somehow.
Yeah.
I don't ever plan on being in an airplane ever. But
then it's going down and they need you to fly it.
Yeah. Like if I'm somehow in like in a mini Cessna or something, or I don't know, one of those old crop dusters or something, and the pilot has a heart attack, I just want to have a chance.
Dude, somehow YouTube the other day fed me, like, through whatever its algorithm is, started feeding me, like, debrief videos for plane crashes. And I'm just, like, I just started watching one of them, and it was about this famous lady who did a YouTube journey following her, getting her pilot's license, buying a plane, flying and all this stuff, and eventually her just crashing this fucking plane and dying. And they did this like debrief, and this guy was like going into detail about how like the autopilot worked and how she used all this shit incorrectly and all this stuff happened and she was not trained for this particular thing and she was in a plane that was too complicated for her and all this stuff. And she fucking crashed it. And I'm like, yo, this chick probably, I think she had like 400 plus hours of flight experience when she crashed.
Yeah.
And so you imagine, you know, Fred Oakman, for whatever reason, sitting in the passenger seat of a Piper Cub and the guy that's beside him, flying him to his private gig in fucking the Yukon or whatever the hell is going on, just decides to have a heart attack. It's like the beginning of the fucking Hatchet. And
all I've ever played was X-Men vs. TIE Fighter.
Yeah. So, like, the idea that you're like, oh, I'll just grab the stick, right? And I'll take her in. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I like...
all the foot controls and shit. I didn't go sideways and down so fast.
Yeah. Like, and this guy, like, in this video is like, oh, yeah, she just doesn't have good rudder control and all this stuff. And you got to work the trim on the autopilot and all this crap. And I'm just like, bro. So, in my heart of hearts... if I was in that situation, do I think I could take manual control of the plane and not die? I like to believe that I could. Especially if I had radio communication with like a tower that was walking me through it, right?
It'd have to be a simple plane.
It would have to be something very simple where it's just like...
Hawker.
It's like, bro, just get low and just like land the bitch, just like fucking slide it on the ground. You might...
It's going to hurt.
It's going to hurt, but it probably won't kill you. Okay. I could probably do that unless it's like a fucking rainstorm or some weird shit's happening. But I don't know, man. I've thought, and I've never necessarily... I've mentioned previously on the show before how I've always had a passing interest in aviation. And I've thought a ton of times about like getting... working towards getting my pilot's license at some point. And then like... I watch some of these videos, and it's just like, bro, I don't know if I want to do
risk,
that.
Man.
You go up there, and like I would be comfortable if I was with an instructor, and I'm flying, and if at any point in time they can just take over and fly the plane or whatever. I would be totally cool with that.
Dude, even with that, like the most skilled pilot isn't going to be able to save you with a severe mechanical failure in the air.
That's true. Dude,
wing snaps or something like.
Oh yeah, you're fucked. But I mean, at that point, I mean, even a pro would be fucked. But
that's what I'm saying. Like once you're up there, man, there is your chance of surviving, living to see tomorrow, are incredibly decreased. Like once you're in the air.
I gotta tell you, when I was in high school, did you have to do a senior project in high school?
No, but you mentioned this on the show. You went to this thing.
Yeah. Just that, and I mentioned it before. It was probably a long time ago, but for anyone who didn't hear it, I did a deep dive into aviation, and one of the things that I did was I went and I did a ride along for a instructor teaching a student how to fly, and it just so happened that this particular day they were learning stall techniques and how to recover from them. So literally, I'm in the back of this tiny ass plane. They're flying the plane straight up in the air until the engine stalls. And then when the plane starts to fall, they have to restart the engine and catch it again. And I'm just like, I did not sign up for this shit. And like, I'm just in the back, like hoping that I don't die. And it was really crazy. So, but yeah. Anyway, we can move on. I thought you might be interested in like at some point.
Yeah, I am.
Out the VR2 thing for Flight Simulator because it does look really cool to me. I can trace back all the way to my grandparents. My grandpa when he retired got his pilot's license, and they in the mid 90s on their PC they got Microsoft Flight Simulator 1995, and he had a joystick and everything.
Yeah,
and that was one of my favorite things when I was a kid in school and we would go visit them over the summer in Florida is I would play Flight Simulator on it because I thought it was so cool. So I would definitely get into playing this again if
you know what they should do for Flight Simulator? They should make it online, but not like everyone's flying their own plane, but online so that if you're trying to learn, you can bring a passenger on, like a co-pilot.
Yeah.
That can like coach you or like just be a passenger on your plane. That would be cool.
That would be kind of a neat little feature that they could add.
You could panic when you start losing control together in VR. That'd be so fun.
Yeah, that would be funny. It's like some fucking Wii avatar sitting next to you, just like it's boxing gloves flying around.
You're sharing like a palm though, where you can like talk to each other. It'd be so fun.
All right, I got one more news point here. I just wanted to kind of get your opinion on, and then we're going to close the show out because we've been going. I know you got shit to do. The scuttlebutt is that NetherRealm, the fighting game studio, works on, Mortal Kombat. Apparently they're working on Injustice 3. And Injustice, if for those of you who don't know, is a DC comic books based fighting game made by NetherRealm, who did Mortal Kombat. It's very it's very high production value, very dark, lot of story and stuff involved in it, and high praise, very good reviews. Both games did very well. The only apparently there's somebody's resume leaked that they were an artist or something for Injustice 3, and that's how people are learning about it. We don't know for sure if it's actually real, but there's been a couple other things to indicate that it might be actually happening. Now, Fred, I know that you really liked at least one of the Injustice games.
Yeah, I don't know which one it was.
Would you be interested in playing a new Injustice game?
I think I'd really enjoy playing a new Mortal Kombat game too, because they're doing something with the story in these games where there's a story mode. And you don't pick the character, it picks the character for you. You play through, and then another character will show up and you take their story on, and then you take that next challenger story on, and it builds this overarching cool story. And I loved that about Injustice 1 or 2, whichever one it was. But yeah, for sure, I'd be interested. It played really well. It was fun. They do a great job on these games. They kick-ass job.
Yeah, these games look so good, and like you mentioned on, I don't know, I just had a brain fart, but the story looks so cool, and like you mentioned, Mortal Kombat is a game that I have a heritage with because I used to play that when I was a kid. And I was super into Mortal Kombat 3 on my Super Nintendo. And I played some of the other ones like Mortal Kombat 4 on N64 and the Mortal Kombat that came out on PS2 and a couple other ones. But I would really like to get... I think I would enjoy these games if I could put the fighting part on like easy mode. And I could that's what I do. And I just beat the shit out of the guy... And then I move on to like the next story beat, almost kind of like a visual novel, but I get to beat the crap out of someone every so often.
There's great voice acting. The graphics are phenomenal. Yeah, let me throw down a free finisher every once in a while by just pressing like 2 buttons at once, and just let me enjoy the game.
Yeah, I could jive with that. So there might be something to that. But anyway, that's pretty exciting. And with that is the end of the show.
I've got 2 quick things real quick, Jake. Real quick.
Yeah.
I don't want to open up a conversation. We'll save it for next week. But I want you and the listeners to think about why in the hell, now that Redbox is gone and now that video game rental services are done, why can't we rent games digitally?
It is interesting to think about. We'll talk about it next week.
Yeah.
Because that's it is kind of interesting because you can rent movies digitally, right?
Yeah, so why can't you just get the license for like 2 days? From the time you boot the game up, you get 2 days access for like $10 or something for like a $70 game. That's probably why. But we'll talk about it next week. Think about that.
Yeah, for sure.
It's everybody's homework assignment. Why can't we rent games digitally, get the license for a couple days or whatever? Yeah, that'd be awesome. Because this is... that would be a game that I would rent, would be Injustice 3. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would rent that just for the story mode, play it on easy, get through it on a weekend I knew I had time to do it, and then I'd be content. It's $10, $15 they wouldn't get from me otherwise,
Right.
I don't know. Anyway.
Sure.
And then the other thing I had a joke for everybody, including you, but go ahead, finish up, and then we'll close with a joke.
So that's all I have. I don't have anything else to say. I need to.
All right.
I need to do some something. Get the podcast uploaded. Right. Then I'm gonna probably have some dinner, and I don't know. Maybe I've been watching so much fucking hockey this year. Because it's the playoffs right now. It's been crazy, dude. That was the other thing that happened when I was in Florida. When I was in Pittsburgh on yesterday. Is that not only was the marathon going on, but as we were getting ready to leave, people were coming in for a Pirates game.
Oh, wow.
And we were
Like 10
parked.
people?
Yeah. We were parked on the North Shore too. So we had to like, thankfully we got out of there before the game really got going, or maybe it was after the game already started. I don't remember, but there wasn't a ton of people there. But yeah, it's I don't know, like, dude, I gotta be honest with you, man. I would probably be a lot more into baseball if there just weren't so many games. Like,
yeah, I know.
If shit meant more, it's just it's like there's a reason why there's only the stadium. I mean, also the Pirates suck, but like the PNC Park's a nice place.
Oh, it's one of the nicest stadiums in baseball for sure. I'm not just saying that. And all the players in the league will tell you.
And even though the Pirates suck, they have one of the biggest fan bases, and so like you would think that they're like the stadium would probably be a lot more full if people weren't literally just like, there's fucking 90 more of these games this year I could go to.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Your point, man, I haven't been to a Pirates game in like 3 years. I just bought tickets to go on a Friday in May, the last week of May, to watch the Twins and the Pirates play. And because I knew that if I didn't buy them, I wouldn't go.
Yeah.
You know, it's always going to be one thing over the next. And it's just like, there's like you said, there's like 80 more games. I'll get to one. And you just have to just pull the trigger and get the tickets if you want to see baseball, because to be quite frank, there's nothing really fun about going to watch a losing team. But once you're there and you're in the seat and you're at the game, you're like, yeah, this is awesome. Like I just need to get myself there. So I did buy tickets.
Yeah, I always enjoyed. I mean, I haven't been to a baseball game in, God, I don't know, 20 years maybe. But I used to enjoy going all the time when I was a kid. You know, you get your ice cream in the little baseball hat, and you fucking go and you watch the game or whatever. And I used to go to Pirates games with a family friend of ours when we were kids, and it was fun. But you know, it's like we live like just far enough away though, where it's like inconvenient to go. But the nice thing about Pirates games is that a lot of times they're like at 2:00 in the afternoon on the weekend. So you can go to a Pirates game and you're home by 6:00, which isn't bad. It's not like when you go to see the Pens play on a Saturday night and you're fucking home at 11 or 11:30 at night because of how late the games are. So
yeah, I don't know what time it is. It's a Friday night game. And instead of fireworks, which I'm really pissed off because the fireworks at PNC Park are amazing. It's the Zamboni drone show. Which might actually be cool. Yeah, I've never been to a drone show. They take like hundreds of drones and they fly them in the air and make patterns or whatever. Might kind of be neat, but I'd rather just watch fucking fireworks.
Yeah.
All right, here's the joke for you real quick, and then we'll let everybody go. This guy, right? I heard this the other day. I thought it was funny. It's not even inappropriate. It's just funny. He's got his local watering hole. He's had a really rough day. He goes to the bar and expects to see the normal, 6 or 7 people in there just, at the end of a work day. And he steps in and there's all this clamor. There's a 12-inch person just banging away on a piano in the corner, playing Billy Joel songs, playing, all the classics. And the place is just popping off. People are singing and dancing. There's free popcorn flying through the air. Like, it's really a thing. And he sits down and he gets a drink from the bartender and he drinks it and things just don't stop. And he grabs another drink and he says, "Hey, I got to ask." The bartender's name's Tony. He goes, "Hey, Tony, what the hell is going on here today?" And he goes, "You're not going to believe it, man, but there's a genie out back granting wishes." And Tony starts telling him more about the genie, but this guy can't hold his horses. So he runs out back, and sure enough, there's a genie out back. And he goes, "Hey, I hear you're granting wishes." And the genie goes, "Yeah, I'll grant you one wish. It's your lucky day." And he goes, "All right. I wish for $1 million bucks." He says, $1 million bucks. He comes in the door and sits down, and all of a sudden, everybody starts hearing all these ducks come through, right? And everybody's pissed off. The mood of the room falls through the floor. The 12-inch piano player jumps up on the piano because the ducks are as tall as him. And everybody's looking at this guy like, dude, what the fuck did you do? And he looks at Tony and he said, dude, what happened? And Tony says, you tell me. He goes, well, I wish for $1 million. And Tony says, I was trying to tell you the genie's hard of hearing. Do you think I asked for a 12-inch pianist? So that's the joke. Anyway, it's a good joke. Not really appropriate, but also kind of hilarious.
That's funny.
Yeah. Well, with that, thanks for having me on another show, Jake. We should be back in order this weekend coming up to record. I know Sunday is Mother's Day.
Yeah.
So we'll record Monday.
Yeah.
And get things up for everybody. But thanks for tuning in, everybody. I'm happy to be back. I'm sorry about the audio. There's nothing I could do about it. I'm going to go check out this new place to me called the Bullfrog. We'll see what it's all about. Jake?
All right. So you heard it here. That's the end of the show. Episode 422. P.S. This is awesome. Fred's going to the Bullfrog. I'm going to have something to eat.
I hope there's a genie out back.
I hope there's a genie out back too, and it doesn't give you a 12-inch duck or whatever. So go to patreon.com/PS is awesome. Give them $1. Give us $1. You'll find it in your couch. Not a big deal. We appreciate it, even if it's just for 1 month and you want to quit or you just want to subscribe and log on there and tell us how big of idiots we are or tell us what we need to play. Oh, that's cool. Write in. We love it. And with that out of the way, just like you don't know Jack, you suck at parking, and YouTuber's life. P.S. This is awesome.
This is awesome.